Hi readers, me here, and it has been a minute since I've done a video. I was trying to get my shit together, it didn't happen, and then it was the Super Bowl, so anywho, here we are, and it is book haul time. I do have quite a few books, even though I've sworn off buying books. That's apparently been a failed experiment. Anyway, first up we have These Things Happen by Michael Eton. I don't even remember where I heard about this, but Daniel Zimmer will do almost anything to end his pain, except for the one thing that might work. Growing up in 1970s Brooklyn under the shadow of his tyrannical father and against the backdrop of the Son of Sam murders, the Karen Ann Quinlan tragedy, which I need to look up, and the New York Yankees' back-to-back championship seasons, Daniel Zimmer struggles to find a sense of safety and belonging. Daniel and his brother Max find moments of solace in the rebellious rhythms of early punk and metal bands like the Ramones and Judas Priest. But when faced with an unexpected family tragedy for which he feels responsible, Daniel discovers the magical escape that alcohol can provide, numbing his pain and guilt. Flashing through Daniel's life, past and present, this nostalgic ode to Brooklyn is an unflinching account of the inevitable ups and downs of recovery and coming of age. Ultimately, it is the story of the ravages of generational abuse and the power of recognizing addiction and opening the door to the possibilities of redemption. Anywho, this book starts out with Daniel's brother Max trying to commit suicide at the kitchen table and failing miserably. So it had a really exciting beginning, and I look forward to picking this up to read someday. Although I think my next read is not in this pile. I think the second to next read is. Anywho, next up, I have heard a lot about this book. I don't remember if I read it as a child, but that is Richard Matheson's Hell House. I had been resisting buying it, and then I realized this is the same guy that wrote I Am Legend, which I read and really enjoyed. So, this is about Belasco House, and which the townsfolk refer to as Hell House. All previous attempts to probe its mysteries have ended in murder, suicide, or insanity, but now a new investigation has been launched. 4 strangers come to the main mansion in search of the ultimate secrets of life and death. And for one terrible night, the group will investigate the property and end up fighting for their very own souls. This looks really good too. Also set in the 70s. Next up, this next book, when I read the blurb online about it, I guess I read something different. Maybe I was hallucinating. But when I got it, the description is completely different than what I remembered. What Is Mine by Liao Butler. This is about Hope Chin and her husband raising her 9-year-old nephew, but then he goes missing. Meanwhile, a woman with dangerous secrets to keep buried will do anything to protect her marriage. In one fleeting instant, it's all within her reach. She can finally give her husband the one thing that will make him love her again. I hope it's not that kid, because that is not going to work out well. Next is a very different, not that very different, book for me. It is a mystery, and I always love those. It is called Hurt for Me by Heather Levy. And this book starts out with Ray Dixon being lucky to be alive. 15 years ago, she was trafficked and abused and escaped her captors. Now, she runs a thriving business with her best friend and raises a teenage daughter on her own. She's finally in control. Literally. As Mistress V, Ray is the one calling the shots to Oklahoma City's elite in her private dungeon, which is fronted by a spa. But then a client goes missing. And Detective Dayton Clearwater shows up at the spa, sparking panic and asking questions that risk exposing Ray's true business. But she's going to get together with Detective Clearwater and find answers before more lives are destroyed. Anyway, a little bit different. I've never read a book about a dominatrix, I don't believe. Should be interesting. Okay, next one comes from Mindy's Book Studio, and I've never read a book that they recommended. This is Amina Akhtar's Almost Surely Dead. All these books sound so good. Dunia Ahmed lives an ordinary life, or she used to. Now she's the subject of a true crime podcast. I love books about podcasts. She's been missing for over a year, and no one knows if she's dead or alive. But her story has listeners obsessed, and people everywhere are sporting merch that demands find Dunia. So, that's all I'm going to say. It really looks intriguing. Anyway, this next book, I'm torn about making it my next read because it's a little heavy. Even though I finished a light book not long ago, I really want to wait another minute or two before I pick this up. And I think I'm going to read a YA book before this. And that is what I've been waiting for a long time, Kristin Hanna's The Women. This is about women who experience the war in Vietnam. The main character is she's a nurse. And as green and inexperienced as the men sent to Vietnam to fight, Frankie is overwhelmed by the chaos and destruction of war. Each day is a gamble of life and death, hope and betrayal. Friendships run deep and can be shattered in an instant. In war she meets and becomes one of the lucky, the brave, the broken, the lost. But war is just beginning for Frankie and her veteran friends, because the real battle lies in coming home to America, a changed and divided America, angry protesters, and a country that wants to forget Vietnam. Just kind of a personal note here. I remember after my first deployment with the military to Afghanistan, we got off, I'm going to tear up. We got off the plane in Maine, and the residents of whatever, I think it was Portland, lined the hallways and clapped as my unit walked off the plane. And that was so, I had read a lot about Vietnam growing up. It was so touching. It makes me tear up now just thinking about it. How the contrast between when we came home in 2004 versus when Frankie and them come home. So definitely this is going to be probably the next book I read after the one I've chosen to read next. Now, since we're on a war topic, my Air War in Europe class started yesterday, so I'll be doing those videos and discussion questions online to participate. And one of the books that I bought for it, all the books I bought in preparation for this class, only one is on the recommended reading list, and there's a long recommended reading list, but I cannot buy all those books. Maybe I'll finally check out the library. Anywho, this one is Decision over Schweinfurt, the U.S. 8th Air Force battle for daylight bombing. So, this also goes along with the series that I'm watching, Masters of the Air, and it is fantastic. Love it, love it, love it. So, anywho, really excited to have this. Next one, not World War II related. This is the final one. This is World War I related. It is called Blood and Thunder, The Boys of Eton College and the First World War. I am also intrigued by World War I, but I wanted to check out Alexandra Churchill's writing style and see if I like it. Also, I want to learn more about the Boys of Eton College and the First World War. Anywho, that is all I have for this book haul. I did delay my author spotlight that I should have recorded last week. Again, I was trying to get my shit together and I'm not quite there yet. But I've got that. I've done all the reading prep for that, and I hope to get that done maybe next week. That's all for me. Happy reading!